Hey there, I'm Wesley. This is Percy, and you've landed on Poker for Pound Pups. Just like it sounds, it is a poker vlog designed to help shelter dogs just like Purse.
Percy is a Staffordshire Terrier mix. He's 5 going on 6. He's a total character, loves being chased, loves wrestling with other dogs. He's a cuddle monster, and he makes my life better every day. We're also currently fostering this big guy named Brody Robb. Brody is a 2-year-old pit bull. He's a total goofball. He does really well with other dogs. He's got a sweetheart. So if you're looking to give Brody his forever home, reach out to the Peninsula Humane Society and SPCA.
There are four main reasons why I'm doing this vlog. First and foremost, it's to put together some content that ultimately brings in some money and is able to help out dogs that are in need. Secondly, it's to improve my own thought process and avoid playing poker on autopilot. Third, it's to over time develop enough data to where I'm able to spot some leaks that I have in my game. And fourth is to learn from you. I think that once this channel builds a large enough following, we're going to get some really good feedback from you about certain hands or certain trends that I have. So I'm looking forward to learning from each and every one of you.
I'm a recreational player. I've been doing really well at 1-2-2 for a while now. It's a pretty easy game to beat. But at 3-5 right now, I'm slightly negative. So I need to get better, so I need your help to get there. So there's a link in the description if you want to just donate directly to the SPCA. You can just click the link and donate directly, but you don't have to give any money. Just by watching this channel, ultimately you're going to help build the channel, grow the channel, and 10% of all proceeds generated by the channel will go directly to an animal shelter so that we can help pound pups like Brody here. Hey, hey Brody, you want to say hi? Hi, Brody. Help out pound pups like Brody and Percy and make a difference. This first session is at Lucky Chances 3-5 with a $10 straddle. It's winner straddle or winner kill, which means whoever won the previous spot has to put $10 in, and then if anybody wants to join, they have to open for at least 10. We really don't find ourselves in too many challenging situations, which is odd because we get pocket jacks and ace-10 offsuit just non-stop. Because this session is so tame, I'm also including a 1-2-2 hand that I recorded a few months ago at the very end so that you have some fireworks to end this first video off with.
The first playable hand of the day is the beautiful Queen Jack of puppy toes. We're sitting in the big blind. It folds to us. The straddle is still to act. We make it 35 bucks. Happy to take it down pre-flop. But obviously, if we get a caller, we're going to be in good shape with a lot of equity and a lot of possibilities. The straddle goes ahead and makes the call, and we are heads up, out of position, ready for a flop. Ace 7-3 rainbow it comes. Not great for our hand as we basically only have backdoor equity for either Broadway or clubs, but this is great for our range, and our opponent is a little bit on the conservative side. So we're going to see bet this every time. We put out 40 bucks and the opponent's hand flies into the muck. Good start for the day. Sitting on the button, the older gentleman from the previous hand limps for 10, and the cutoff makes it 40. I look down at ace of spades, king of diamonds. I'm obviously going to 3-bet this every time, so I make it 140 bucks to go. It folds back to the old man, and he makes the call. Now, thinking back to my days when I used to be a little bit more passive, I would probably do this with maybe a lower pocket pair that's not good enough to raise, or maybe a suited ace that just wants to see a flop. So that's kind of what I'm putting him on. And the initial raiser makes the call. I think he's probably going to have something like ace jack or ace queen. So I'm not as concerned about him, but I am kind of on alert for the older guy who limp called. We get a 7-7-5 flop with 2 spades. It checks to me, and thinking about it a little bit more now after the fact, I think I should c-bet this. There are pocket fives out there, and there's potentially a spade draw, but I have the ace of spades, and I'm also going to have all the overpairs here. Now, I can check it back, but if I'm only betting when I have it and I'm checking when I don't, I'm going to be really easy to play against. So I don't like it, but I end up checking back here. Multi-way, I just had a feeling like somebody with a pocket pair would be sticky. So I played the passive route and I checked it back. The turn brings in the 9 of clubs, and the old man doesn't take too long before putting all of his money in the middle of the pot. There's no way he's bluffing with pure air here. So we think about it and decide we have to just let it go. Again, I regret not c-betting the flop on a paired board, but who knows, maybe this particular misplay saved me some money. Sitting in the hijack, we look down at ace 6 of spades. We're going to go ahead and open this up to 35 bucks and almost get it through. It folds around to the straddle who's sitting in the low jack. He decides he wants to give us some action, so we're going heads up in position. We flop bottom pair and backdoor spades on a queen high board. We're going to have over pairs here. We're going to have ace queen. He is going to show up with more two pairs and sets, but this player has been respecting my aggression so far today. And if we do bet and get called, we probably see a free river. So we fire 45 bucks trying to fold out his Broadway cards, his pocket pairs that missed, and any of his backdoor draws. And it takes him all of about a second and a half to decide that he does not want to play this hand anymore. He throws his cards into the muck and we take it down. Sitting in middle position, we look down and see the king of spades accompanied by the queen of puppy toes. We open at $35. The button makes the call and the straddle decides he wants to join as well. So we go three ways to a flop. King of diamonds, jack of hearts, six of clubs. We hit top pair. Typically sitting in the middle multi-way is not a great place to be, but we've got the best pair here and we want to get some value from weaker kings, from jacks, and from any straight draws that may be hanging out. So we go ahead and we bet 55 into 103, just about half pot. And pretty quickly it becomes evident that nobody wants to play with us. That's okay. We'll take a small pot and keep it moving. After winning the previous hand, I am in the small blind and also the straddler, and I look down at ace 10 offsuit. Under the gun opens to 35. Under the gun plus 2 calls, and the button joins as well. I could just call, but I really don't want to play four ways out of position with a mediocre ace. So I 3-bet here to $160. I probably should go a little bit bigger to around 200 or so, but I'm worried that maybe that looks a little bit too aggressive, might be a little bit too bluffy. So I make it 160. Under the gun folds, under the gun plus 2 folds. But the button decides he wants to give me some action. Out of position, we see a flop of 7-7-3. I'm not going to make the same mistake that I made earlier with the ace king hand. This is a paired board and I'm going to have all the overpairs. I'm telling a story that I've got a monster and I'm going to keep that going. He's also got only about $260 left. So I want to put him in a tough spot and make the decision to commit his stack now without getting overexposed. And if he happens to shove it, I can probably just let it go. So I make it 125 and he folds pretty quickly. And it's curious to hear his analysis about what he thinks I had.
I have one of those all.
Five both there on the start, brand new 36. We can hold them on table one. Brand new 36, table one. The both there's HK, William R, Dina, Ernie Emma, Charlie DKL, Romy C, Joey, and Julie.
Within some fireworks if we hit it.
I go all in. You know, you're still calling there, huh?
We'll see.
Even with this king.
Oh, okay.
Good call.
You have ace queen?
He's jack.
Our opponent is kind enough to let us know that he had ace jack. He put us on ace king and didn't think he could get us off of it. Feels pretty good to scoop this pot with the lesser of the two hands. We will take it and we will keep it going. Sitting in the small blind this time around, we look down and see both of the one-eyed jacks. A strong hand, but I think we all know it can be a roller coaster, especially out of position. So after the one limper, it gets to us. Definitely do not want to just call. I'd much rather just take it down or at the very least trim the field and go heads up. We make it 60 bucks. The big blind folds. Then the straddle, who's sitting in the cutoff, decides to come along and the limper folds. So we get what we asked for. We're going heads up to a flop out of position with pocket jacks. The flop comes out 9 high. Not good for our range, but it's excellent for our particular holding. It's also worth noting that this is the same opponent who's been folding to my pressure throughout the day, giving me credit for ace king when he had ace jack and I had a lesser ace 10. And he's just generally been getting out of the way to aggression. So considering that he looks like he's trying to check back and misses this flop, I think we're in great shape, but we do need to protect our hand in case an overcard comes on the turn. We see bet $70 and he pretty quickly lets go of his hand. Sitting on the button, it folds to me. We look down, and what do you know? Once again, we get ace 10 offsuit. It is the hand of the day for sure. We're obviously going to raise this up every time, hoping to take it down. But if not, we've got a decent hand. We make it $35 to go. We look around at something else, and then by the time we look back at the poker table, we realize that small blind has jammed for $95. Given pot odds, this is a pretty easy call. He's going to be doing this with pairs, Broadway cards, suited connectors, etc. And even if we're dominated, it's only another $60 to take down a pot of 185 or so. So we go ahead, reluctantly stick in the call and see what happens. We hit top pair on the flop, feel pretty good about it. However, eventually the opponent shows us the bad news that he went all in with ace 6 suited and happened to outflop us with 2 pair. So be it. It's a good thing our opponent wasn't deeper stacked, or we probably would have lost a decent chunk on this hand. Isn't it weird how some days you just keep getting the same hands over and over again? This day I got ace 10 off and jacks nonstop. This particular time I'm sitting in the big blind. A couple people limp in mid position and it gets to me. The small blind is the straddle, so he's going to come along for the ride too if I just call. Obviously, I'm going to raise this every time. I'd much rather just take it down pre-flop or at least go heads up. I make it 70 to go. The small blind folds, and only one of the 2 limpers come along for the ride. 10-3-3 with 2 clubs. This flop really could not be much better. Hopefully he's got a 10 or maybe a lower pocket pair. I can't see him just limp calling with pocket 10s. If he's got pocket 3s and happen to just flop quads on me, then so be it. But I think that's pretty unlikely. The only holding that he could realistically have that beats me here is ace 3 suited. So for the most part, we're going to be way ahead here. I'm going to bet this. I'm going to try and fold out all of his overcards. And then I'm also going to charge all of those pairs that are way behind and have 2 outs. So I bet 60 into 133, and he gets a little bit sticky and makes the call. The turn, Queen of Clubs, is an overcard, and it brings in the front door flush. Not an ideal turn at first glance, but the more that I think about it, he really shouldn't have too many queens here, except for the Queen of Clubs, which obviously he doesn't have. So unless he happened to turn a flush here, I think we're still in really good shape. Out of position, we could check it back, but this opponent is super capable, especially when sensing weakness. So rather than being put in a tough spot of either giving him a free river or having to call down a couple times, I'd much rather just keep the pressure on myself rather than playing passively and put myself into a tough spot. I fire again for 120. He checks his cards and eventually throws them into the muck. This may come as a surprise, but we finally got ace 10 offsuit today. This time around, we joined the hand a little bit late. We had opened pre-flop to 35 and got called by the same villain who outflopped us with his ace 6 suited when he shoved all in. This time around, the board is much kinder to us as we've hit top pair, bottom pair, and we have the backdoor nut flush draw. Thinking about what he could have when he just flats his pre-flop, I think we're really only losing to king jack. I don't think he's going to have ace queen. I don't think he's going to have pocket 10s, pocket queens, or pocket aces and just be calling us. So we feel great about this flop. We definitely want to get value. We want to charge his aces, his gutters, his pairs plus gutters, any heart draws. So we bet $60 and he calls. Interesting turn card in the 6 of hearts, bringing in the front door flush draw. It's not ideal, but we do have the insurance of the ace of hearts in case he's gone ahead on the turn. We want to go ahead and size up to get value from all the non-flushes that he has, all the non-straights that he has. Looking at his stack, he's got about 350 left, and we want to set up a river shove. There are more good cards than bad cards on the river for me. Any heart is great. Anything but another queen or a black Broadway card, and we're probably in good shape. So we settle on 150 into 190, and after some time, he lets it go. I'm not sure if I lost value on this one, so let me know in the comments. Did I blow this one? What sizing would you have used on this scary turn card of the 6 of hearts? So at this point in the day, I've been playing for a while. I've got plans later in the afternoon. So I decide I'm just going to play my free hands and then leave. We get one limper, and then in the low jack, I look down at ace queen offsuit. I can't be playing and then folding ace queen, so we bump it up to $45. And unfortunately, the hijack calls, the button calls, and the small blind calls. So we go into hit the flop or check fold mode mentality so that we don't give away all of our profits on the last hand. Then the flop comes out King 6-2 Rainbow. Despite my best intentions of having solid discipline on the way out, just seeing, premium hands and folding any non-monsters, this board is super dry. There really shouldn't be any two-pair hands on King 6-2, so unless somebody happened to flop a set of sixes or deuces, we're going to have more kings than anybody else on this flop, and the kings that we have are going to be better than anybody else as well. So we decide we want to stab at it. We throw out 65 into 188. Probably not the best idea multi-way, especially when I'm trying to protect my winnings on the way out. But one by one, they all lose confidence that they have the best hand. They throw their cards into the muck, and we profit an extra $140 on the way out the door.
So to review, I think I played pretty well. I think I got lucky with that ace-queen hand at the end. I probably should not have bet that, but I'm glad that it worked. The ace-king hand that I'd 3-bet pre-flop, and then we got a paired 7-5 board on. I think if I continue, I might be able to steal it. I don't like how I played that. Let me know in the comments what you think. And then that ace-10 hand where I flop top and bottom, plus the backdoor flush draw. We got that third heart on the turn. I think I went too big. I think I probably scare him off. He's probably only calling $150 with hands that beat me or ahead of me at that point in time. So what do you think in the comments? Should I have played that differently? I don't love it. If I could go back in time, I think I maybe bet 100 or 120 there instead of 150. Let me know what you think.
So we end up profiting $413. We wrap up the first vlog with that 1-2-2 hand that we talked about. We played it a few months ago. We just happened to be recording, so forgive the low quality. And we hope you enjoyed vlog number 1 on Poker for Pound Pups.
So we're playing 1-2-2. It's a kill pot, which means it's at least 10 to go. We get two people who limp for $10, and we look down at ace jack offsuit in the hijack. I make it 45 to go. I probably should go a little bit bigger to try and isolate or just take down the money pre-flop. But once the small blind calls, that starts a procession of people who feel like they're priced in and just have to see a flop. First is a straddler, then under the gun, and then under the gun +2. So we're going 5 ways to the flop, and I am in check fold mode unless I absolutely drill this flop. And drill the flop we do. Ace, ace 3, we flop trips. All of a sudden, my mindset goes from how do I protect my stack to how do I make as much as I possibly can. I've got about 265 left, and the pot is about 220. So I want to build the pot a little bit more before jamming on hopefully a clean turn card. We bet $45, hoping to get called by mid-pocket pairs, and if there's a weaker ace out there, hopefully they come along as well. The straddle folds, sitting in the cutoff, but the other 3 all call the small blind, under the gun, and under the gun +1. So all of a sudden, this pot has gone to $378 at 1-2-2. Please, let's just see a nice, easy turn card. We'll get it in good, and then we'll let the chips fall where they may. We're hoping and hoping and hoping for a clean turn card, and that is not what we get. The 9 of hearts rears its ugly head. Ugh, that's probably the last card I wanted to see. So, we're not going to fold. We're still going to get our money in. If somebody has 1 heart, we're going to make them pay. If they have a weaker ace, we're still beating them. More than likely, that card just doomed us. But at the same time, we've got $225. The pot is $378. We've got trip aces. If we lose, we lose. We shove. The small blind calls and under the gun calls. So we are probably in really bad shape. Either someone else has a better ace, or they decided to play ace 9, or somebody had a heart draw. I can't see a world in which we're leading at this point. So I just start praying to the poker gods. Pair the board. Pair the board. Let's see what happens on this river.
You got a better kicker. Jesus, what river?
Let's see it. Ace jack?
Oh. Ace queen or ace king?
Wow. Oh.
Ooh. Ace queen or ace king? What you have? You don't have the ace. I got one though. You had an ace? You had an ace? Oh, shit.
So, for all you non believers out there, now you know for a fact that the poker gods exist. The small blind looked disgusted. Someone else said they folded an ace pre-flop, so maybe he had a weak flush. Maybe he had threes or nines. Under the gun had flipped over a king high flush. So he got quite unlucky on that river. But you know what? I prayed to the poker gods, and apparently he did not. So that's the way it goes. That was fun, scooping over a $1,000 pot, getting it in behind with trip aces, and rivering the nuts.
All right, these monsters are hungry. I'm going to get them home. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.